Chris, we are live. Chris, we're live.
Oh, my goodness.
How do you feel being live with Longhorn Lester?
Great.
You do feel great?
Yeah.
You're not nervous at all? Let me ask you a question. What is the largest audience you've ever spoken to as far as when you had to present to stuff? Try to remember back to times that you've presented, and what is the largest audience you've ever had to present to?
400 or 500 people.
400 or 500. Okay. So we're at 500 right now. So you're right now, you're comfy.
No.
But I'm going to tell you something, though. That number's going to grow. So right now we're at 600. So that numbers are getting bigger. Don't you look at that number. Don't look at that number.
Don't point it out.
Don't. I love to look at it. Chris, now we're at 1,100. Now that number's going to keep growing, okay? People are starting to get notifications. They're all running through their phones. Those at work are having to look down under their desk to watch. A lot of people want to meet you, and I can't wait to show you off a little bit. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to tip my hat and welcome everybody. Can you tip your hat? That's kind of a Texas thing. Do you know any other state that still tips their hat? I don't know how well traveled you are. I know you went up north recently. They don't tip hats up there, do they?
Stuff different.
They do things different. And Chris, now we're at 3,000. How you feeling now? We're getting kind of. Is it more nerve wracking?
Well, if you just quit talking, you'll be okay.
I'm not going to quit talking. I never quit talking. You will learn that. You already know that I'm not. I never quit talking. I just talk. And maybe I talk, and that's my way to combat the nervousness. But I love what we're doing. And I tell you what, this week, man, has been a crazy week. What happened here at the property a couple of days ago was something that still seems very surreal to me. And we're going to talk all about that. But first, I want to do something to break the ice. If you don't mind, I want to do something to kind of break the ice with you. Break the ice with all of these folks. How many are watching now, Chris? Can you read that little number?
Over 4,000.
Over 4,000. So what we have here, and I like to always do this, is we pay for an app called StreamYard, and that takes all 4 of my channels, the I'm a Survivor, Facebook, so YouTube, Longhorn Lester, Facebook, and YouTube, and pulls them all into one page. So this is a pretty good number, and I'm about to show them something that should embarrass me, but I'm actually doing it for you. Okay, my friends, I want to read Chris's reaction over here, and I'm going to bring you all on board to watch and see how you all react to this. And then I'm going to ask Chris one simple question when it's over. One simple question, and I'm looking for your honest to God reaction. Are you ready for the video?
Yes.
Everyone, welcome Chris, and welcome Lester's version of Fireman Flashdance. Do you know Flashdance? Flashdance. How old are you?
37.
You're too young. You're too young to know about Flashdance. There was a movie during my generation of this ballet dancer who was like, you remember leg warmers? You know leg warmers?
No.
Oh my God, you're young.
You gotta get the age right.
Okay, I gotta get the. Have you ever heard of the song called Maniac?
Yep.
You're a maniac.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is the video that goes with that song, and I perform this for you. Are you ready? This is my dedication. This is my dedication video to you. And if I'm not embarrassed, don't you be embarrassed. But everyone's going to be watching your reaction. Are you ready for this, Chris? Everyone enjoy Longhorn Lester in Maniac.
What in the world?
Well, what?
Just a steel town girl on a Saturday night, looking for the fight of her life. In the real time world, no one sees her at all. They all say she's crazy, like it will dance to the beat of her heart. She jingled into life. She has danced into the angels.
Look,
The dancer becomes a dance.
is it that hard to look at?
It can cut you like a knife if the gift becomes a fire. On the wire between will and what will be. She's a maniac, maniac on the floor. And she's dancing like she's never danced before. She's a maniac, maniac on the floor. And she's dancing
Okay, we'll stop that now. Not to worry, we'll play that plenty of more times before the video's over with. Chris, your first reaction. All I want to hear is one word: hot or not. Now, listen, even a man who's secure in his masculinity can identify another good looking fella. Was that video worthy of representing your fire department?
Yes.
You saying yes?
A little better if I'd have been in it.
It would have been better if you'd been in it. And that is where I'm going with this. I want you to convince your firehouse to come over and let's make us a video. Let's just make us a video. And it's not hard and it's fun. We can put some music to it and do some stupid stuff and have all kinds of fun with it. Ladies, I'm going to ask you right now, and you can be honest. I will not hold it against you. I'm looking for simple words: hot or not. I'm looking for hot or not. Y'all want to watch it again while you're typing in? Chris, we've grown a few little bit. Let's do it one more time, and I'm watching for one words only: hot or not. Here we go. Chris, I see a lot of hots there, buddy. I see a lot of hots. I see a lot more hots than I see throw up faces. There are some throw up faces, but a lot of hots. There's some double hots, Chris. Some fire. Fire. Somebody's gaining this up here.
Just a steel town girl on a Saturday night, looking for the fight of her life. Dancing like
Right here.
she's a maniac, maniac on the floor.
There goes the hat. There it went.
Chris, I'm going to say one thing, and I believe I speak for everybody. Do not leave your fire equipment sitting around my place. Do not leave your stuff sitting around my place. And that's what happens right there. I play dress up. Maybe I'm getting old and older. I'm trying to relive my youth. But leaving a fireman's outfit here in my shop was nothing but trouble. I've had a lot of fun with that. Here comes the knots. Okay, here comes the knots. Do y'all have to ruin it? You're like just popping my bubble, y'all. There were so many hots at first, Chris. Did you see them all?
I see more hots than not still.
I'm not going to actually go count them. I'm not that sick to have to go count and do like a survey kind of a thing.
There's more hots than not. So.
I agree. There were a lot more hots than not. But also, people are very kind here. People are so kind, and they've learned that if you can't say something nice, then don't say it at all. They have to say something, so they just say hot. Fine, let's just feed his ego a little bit. Fine.
I like that one there. It says Chris will never be the same in his gear again. That could very well be true.
that will be true. Chris will never be the same in his gear again. Now, here's my question to you, though. See, I don't know all the guys over at the firehouse over here. But what would they say to you if I made you a video like that, except it's you doing similar type things? Could you ever walk in that firehouse again with the same respect as you walk in there now?
Yeah.
Yes, they would be okay with
They
it.
may make fun of me, but that's part of it.
That's what guys do, man. Guys can make fun of guys and be
They'll probably
okay
be more
with
jealous.
it. They would be jealous, Chris. They would be jealous. Because the funny thing is, Chris, if we were younger men, we wouldn't do stuff like that. You get to a certain point in your life where you can just have fun and not even give a darn anymore what people say or what they think. Because I'm not even bothered by the ones who are saying, the throw up you little faces. Hey, you're lost, ladies. You're lost. All right. You're lost. Anyway, let's get to the real gist of the video. I want to talk a little bit about you. I want to introduce you to everybody. And then I want to show some video clips that have just been just awe-inspiring for me. Talk about what happened here earlier this week and stuff. Let's hear about you first. So you said that you're 36?
37.
You're 37, and you have a full-time job, yet you also are the chief of the South Polk County Volunteer Fire Department. How hard is that?
There's always something.
There's always something.
Always something going on.
And then when you say that, is your work the kind of place that allows you to leave if you need to?
If I have to, I can.
If you have to, you can. And
work comes first.
Well, yeah, obviously you have to pay your bills.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's talk a little bit about what happened Was that Thursday? Or
Wednesday.
Wednesday. What happened on Wednesday, Chris? What happened Wednesday from your perspective?
Well, first we got a call of smoke near this place, and then 2 minutes later, got a call smoke at Longhorn Lester's. And my first thought was somebody done started a fire again.
Well,
From-
you have to say again. I learned my lesson the first time, Chris. You've only been here for one fire. That was my fault.
Yeah,
And
that's why it'd be again.
well, I guess that gives okay. You have, I guess you're entitled to say again, because you know though that I said it last night in Jamie and my live, is that had it not been for that accidental forest fire that I created, you and I would have probably never met.
Nope.
Well, we probably would have met at some point
Mhm.
through all of the riffraff that I get myself into. But that was the first time that we met. What was your first impression going back 2 years? What was your first impression of the day that you were called to come see what's going on here at this place called, well, there was no name then. We
There
were
wasn't a name.
just a property, no fencing, no gates. It was just a guy who was cleaning off some property and he had created a fire.
I was confused because the call came from overseas, or UK.
I remember that. Someone
made it
from
real weird.
the United Kingdom, the UK, somehow, y'all, I don't know how people do it, but they're good. They figured out where I was at. And at that point, we had never listed an address. Then we never talked about the name of the city. And somehow they found us and knew that we had a fire, which is scary to me. That's darn scary when people have that kind of technology and they know how to use it. And so they knew I had a fire issue here. And so even though I never called 911 because I thought I could do it myself, someone else did. And that is what sent Chris over here. And that's how you and I made our first acquaintance.
Yep.
And it's been really neat since then. You've helped me in several different things here and there. We did the culvert when I still had a culvert back with Jaime. I've met you and hung out with you several times at the different fish fries and the fundraisers and stuff. And I've met your family, and it's just been a pleasure getting to know you. Now we're going to move in. So that's the personal you. What else do I need to know about you as just a personal guy? Because we're about to go into the professional guy.
Person, that's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
Wife and kids.
Yep.
And y'all live pretty local. And what got you into firefighting? What made you at some point go down and say, hey, I want to be a fireman?
Now,
Volunteer.
when I was growing up, my neighbor was on the fire department volunteering.
Oh, so you've kind of been around fighting fires your whole life.
Yes, sir.
That might lead me to my next question. I want to show you a little video. This is a picture that I took when I first got here. Now, when I first rolled up, this is what I rolled up to. A guy who was still in your work clothes from your job. You have a hose. I'm guessing you're looking for water.
Yep. Waiting on the water.
Waiting on the water. And then what this turned into, guys, was a whole lot bigger than that. But Chris, I will say this. It's not only you, not only the neighbors around here, but there was not a fireman here who did not point to you and say, that guy right there just saved your place. What made you go to that spot right there instead of down that fence line where there were obviously other fires? Why did you go there?
That was the part that was scary at first. Like it hurt your stuff at first.
And so what you did was, and I'll show the video here in a moment, you eventually climbed that fence, and without having all your fireman gear, you walked right up amongst that stuff and began to hose it down. And we have all that video here coming up in a few minutes. But I will show you some other stuff along the way over here, some other pictures that were taken. This is from a different angle. This is all of I guess that's the structure over there that was on fire.
Yes, sir.
And then at this point, it's still, I don't know, a brush line away from my fencing. Over here, this is one of the trucks who's backed up to the fence. And at this point, you got quite the inferno. I mean, there was flames as high as the trees.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know if it was the trees that were on fire or what was burning, but there was I call it an inferno, because when you see flames coming over the tops of trees, and then I continue on with the video, and I took all the sound out because the fire trucks were so loud. But this is you walking along back behind that fire, which was really neat because what you did was kept the fire off that ridge. You kept the fire from dropping down along the river, which could have spread a whole lot further. And you kept fire from coming closer to my place, which you could have got the boat first, the barn, and then who knows what else could have gone after that. And so, whereas everyone else was focused on fighting the gist of the fire, I think you kind of went around a kind of a backdoor approach to it. Is that anything that you did in particular, or was that just something that y'all been trained to do, or how does that work?
I was more worried about it spreading. The stuff that was burnt was burnt. So I didn't want to go to the river.
So is that like a fireman's strategy, or that was just you trying to look out for Longhorn Lester? Because I'm not really, because you're saying that the other firemen were all focused on what was already burning, and you were focused on the spreading of the fire.
I had some people doing that, and then I was doing this, so we all worked together.
And then in saying so, I never heard anyone shouting and screaming and sending orders unless I missed something. Whenever I watch things on TV, and I like Chicago PD or whatever, you always have the main guy shows up and immediately he starts screaming out what to do. And you guys seemed like, unless I missed something, I heard some chatter, but I never heard anyone just demanding you do this and you do that and you do this and you go here and you go there. Did I miss something, or do y'all just know each other that well to work together and just know what has to be done?
We've worked together so long, everybody knows what the next person is doing usually.
So everyone have a role, or not necessarily, or you just fill in your role?
They know what needs to be done, so they get it done. Whether it's this, that, or back here, or what was. We even had some people on the other side that knew what needed to be done and worked together.
I'm so sorry I don't have these things written down. There's no list because I'm feeding off what you're telling me. And so then if you say that you all just know what needs to be done, if you're volunteer firemen and some guys are showing up, some guys are not, it's kind of like you can't wait for one guy to show up who's only in charge of the hoses or the priming of the hose. Everyone has to know what to do in the succession it has to be done to make that thing clockwork, because I don't guess you ever know who's going to actually show up and who's not.
That was my worry here at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You know who's going to be around, who ain't. But
3 o'clock in the afternoon for volunteer firemen, and you don't know who's going to show and who doesn't. But the guys that showed seemed like they just jumped right on what needed to be done. There were some guys manning the trucks. Some guys were pulling hoses. Some guys were up on the trucks. I guess, I don't know if y'all prime them or pumping the trucks. Yes, some guys like you were out there in the thick of things and actually fighting the fire. And then how much harder is it when other firemen show up, other departments that you're not familiar with, or are you familiar with them?
Well, we all work. The ones that came to help here, we always work together pretty much whenever we call to get.
I saw you shaking hands. Okay, I'm going to say something here that's going to probably offend you, but I don't mean it in a bad way. Is Livingston, are they paid firemen?
No, everybody's volunteers.
Everyone's volunteers. Okay, the whole county's volunteers. Okay, are they a bigger fire department?
Yes,
because they seemed like they're in the city. Mm-hmm. They seemed like when they rolled up, I'm going to say something, Chris, it's going to probably offend you. I don't mean it in a bad way. Can I say this? I feel like when they rolled up, they looked the role of like they do this stuff all the time. Like
all day, every day.
All day, every day.
The guy that came out was a fire marshal for the city.
Okay. When you guys rolled up, I made this reference recently. Y'all look like a militia. If you picture the Civil War or the American Revolution, you had your George Washington soldiers who all had uniforms and they all walked and they looked like soldiers, like they'd been trained. And then you have other guys show up with pitchforks and hammers and axes and shovels. And you guys roll up in your very nice equipment, but there's guys in flip-flops, there's guys in shorts, there's guys in little wife beater t-shirts, and you looked kind of militia, but you knew just what to do and how to do it. And I admire that. And so that's why I was just kind of thinking that are some departments better funded, or some departments, I guess if they do it all the time and they're in a larger city, they probably are better funded.
That's his job of the day. He does fire stuff during the
So
day.
that's his job of the
But
day.
he's not paid for the fire department. per se.
Okay, I got you. And that is in essence of what kind of drew me to go a direction that I never go. I'm big about this, Chris, and I don't mean this in a bad way to other folks that do it, but I think that we cater to a lot of folks who live very similar lifestyles to, I would say, most Americans. In fact, in the fact that they live paycheck to paycheck, they most of their salaries they earn is probably spent on providing for their families, and so we try as hard as we can to never ask for money. We don't want to ask for money and take from people who need every penny. With the economy the way it is, and gas prices and things on the rise, we never ask for money. And so what baffled me, Chris, is this right over here. How shocking was that? At the end of the day, I put 70,000 up there. It's a little bit more, $70,268 to a small fire department that would have been very happy to have gotten 6,000.
Yes.
How in the world have y'all talked, you and anyone else, about how y'all are going to disperse that and how you're going to use that?
A little bit, not much yet, because it's
And
yesterday.
how mind blowing is that?
Crazy.
Tell me,
Crazy.
Tell me about your day yesterday, because I let you know I was going to do it, and then I let you know that we're going to work hard to reach that goal of 6,000. I even told you that if we can't reach it, Jamie and I will match it to make sure that y'all get what you need with your gear that you need and whatever else that you need to kind of better equip your department. But as you're sitting there watching that darn number grow, I know you and I were chit-chatting back and forth, just kind of small talk. But what was going on in your mind? Like when you saw that thing exceed the 6,000, at what point did it blow your mind?
The 6,000 blew my mind. It just kept going crazy and crazy. Beyond grateful. It's insane.
I don't even know what to say about that. Now, I have no idea the cost of what it takes to manage and maintain and upkeep equipment, fire equipment. I have no idea whatsoever. But that right there, man, I hope gets you guys off to a really good start this year with your fundraising this year and whatnot. And I am just so blessed that, and I said this last night in my live, the people that you're watching right over here now, by the way, you see that number?
Yes, sir.
How crazy is that?
That's crazy, too.
We're sitting here talking to 8,300 people and letting you know how beautiful souls you are for helping South Polk County Volunteer Fire Department raise $70,000 when all their dreams were to raise 6,000. And that's just beautiful to me. And I hope that you guys can find ways to make that work and to just do amazing things with it. I know the folks here are appreciative of you guys. I'm going to say this, Chris. I'm going to try to say it without getting emotional. But we saw how close that fire was. And I really do think that you guys saved our property. I know that you saved a lot of our infrastructure as far as our barns, our tractors, our equipment. Who knows? I think the animals, I sit there and I replay what was happening and what worst case scenarios. And I think the animals, those that would have been able to run to safer grounds, would have found a way. But I worry about those that were inside the house here, the little goats. And then what if y'all not had been so fast? What if you'd not been here fast enough? And then when I try not to be so selfish and think about us, there's a number of homes that are kind of buried right there in that forest.
Mm-hmm.
And that fire was moving right towards those places as well. I know Mr. Kenny, my neighbor, had gone out with his own water hose. And I don't know if that would have been effective or not, but he had his own water hose trying to spray his house and spray his trees, spray his yard, just the fear of what was coming their way. And you guys just come over here and how many fire departments came total? Do you remember?
Be 4 total.
4 total.
4 different ones total.
And do you guys call that alarms? Like when I hear the radio and it says there was a 4-alarm fire, what does that mean? Or a 3-alarm fire, a 6-alarm?
Depends on where you are, how many people they call out per alarm. We just call different departments here. We don't have a. Like
So that wouldn't be
Houston has
classified.
alarms, and they add like more alarms, and even they get more people coming from the same department. We just
Okay.
call mutual aid departments to get more departments to help.
Okay, so you just need more departments, more
Yes,
truck, more
trucks,
boots
more
on the
water,
ground.
more hands.
I got you, more hands. I'm going to back up to this picture over here and just ask you. Now, I know that you were sweating. I was trying to leave you alone. I didn't mean to be following you around, asking you so many questions. I knew you were working, and it was hard to not. I'm a video guy, and I want to capture moments. And so, what was going on in your head right here? What can you remember? And how were you so calm? Because you weren't screaming and hollering and yelling. You were running. I did see you. I saw a jump to your step. But what was going on in your head right there? Do you remember? Or is it just all like just training takes
Well,
over?
Just I need a water, and who else is coming?
Were you like calling folks to get your asses over here?
Well, whenever I made the corner up here and I seen the smoke in there, I knew it wasn't good.
So you guys beat me to the property. I know that when I turned the corner, I'm not sure if you saw my video or not, but there were ambulance drivers, there were fire trucks that were, I guess, smaller brush trucks leaving to get more water. I don't know where they were going. DPS was here. A couple of different law enforcement folks were here. I'm guessing the fire marshal was here,
Yes, sir.
along with a number of fire trucks, and it was just in and out and so much confusion. But
There was no confusion.
no,
All the ones know what's going on.
this is what I'm going to say. To me, it looked as though it was a ballet dance, like you all knew.
Mm-hmm.
And there was just like, there was no one who was ever honking or beeping or screaming. That was just like trucks moving and equipment moving. And I know at one point I looked up and I saw my side-by-side, and there was a couple of firemen driving around my side. They commandeered my side-by-side, and I'm glad they did. But they're trying to move around from different sides of this fire. And I guess they says, you know what, let's grab this side-by-side over here and utilize it. And you guys squash it. How long do you think it took total from start to finish, from the time y'all showed up here until the time that y'all were all able to leave and felt secure with it being contained and no more hot spots?
About 3 hours.
About 3 hours. So, and then I'd found out that there were several other fires that same day that different departments and different guys had already been battling.
And then we actually had to send one while we was here to go fight another fire.
Man, so it's tough right now. Well, Chris, I am just super impressed. We are so indebted to you guys. And I don't know what we would have done without you. A lot of folks are asking whether any damages. We had a little bit of damage to our fences. A couple of the posts will be replaced over time, but nothing immediate. There's nothing immediate needs to be done. You guys made yourselves a skirmish line at that fence. And for the most part, very little flame or fire made it over on this side. We did lose that, not we, but that structure was lost, but that was abandoned. Or do you know?
I was told it was abandoned.
It was abandoned building that had been sitting there for a while. We couldn't even see it from our property because the brush was so thick between us and them. But there was no one living there, so that's good. That was good. So no one's being displaced right now, or no one lost their home. But man, it's scary times, buddy. What else can you add? Anything else you want to add? I know I've been talking my head off and just rambling on and on and on and on. Is there anything that I'm not remembering or thinking about that you can add to that day or that moment, or anything else you want us to know about your guys that you work with, or anything else?
It was nice having the pond here with water in it to help us with the fire.
How crazy was that?
It turned out good.
You know, Jamie and I were talking a little bit about that, and how a lot of things seemed like there was like a divine intervention, because you saw our pond there when we had no water in it. And I'm curious about something. If our pond had been empty, where would those trucks had to have gone when they were empty from water and they had to leave, where would they have gone to get more water? From the pond down the road that you and I talked about one time
There's a
before?
pond down the road or back towards town, or some takes 20, 30 minutes to make a round trip.
But it would have taken
been a whole lot
30
worse.
minutes. It could have been it could have been. Yeah, because while those trucks are gone to refill, fire's burning. And that was scary. But to have the pond right there to be able to pump some water from, to give you guys a continual cycle of water was just beautiful. And so, well, that's great, Chris. I don't know what else to say besides at what point can I get you and the guys from the firehouse over to make a video? Because here's what I'm going to do. Like I said yesterday, we're not ones to do fundraisers, but Jamie and I says if we could get you guys over here one day, once it cools off a little bit, and in your fireman gear, the way I was, y'all can wear shirts if you want to, and let us have some fun with y'all. Let us play Barbie. Let us play Ken Barbie with you guys a little bit, and we could make a really fun. We don't got to do a calendar, Chris. Calendars are old school. We can do a virtual calendar, an actual video calendar that people could play whenever they want to see some really good-looking firemen that know what they're doing. Wouldn't that be fun or not?
I'm sure it would be.
Is there any part of dressing up that's fun for you, or is that just a me kind of a thing?
Well, my stuff will never be the same. You done dressed
equipment?
up in it. Yeah. You done wore it.
Chris, you know what? A little bit of sweat ain't gonna hurt nobody. I'm sure you sweat worse and all that stuff and out there in the heat of the battle. I'm going to go now, and I love to let folks ask questions. If you're going to ask a question of Chris, make sure you put it in all bold. I'm going to remind you that because we're working on 4 platforms here, and we're right at 9,000 folks, the comments are flying by really fast. So for me to be able to see them, or for Chris to see them, he has better eyes than I do, I bet. Put it in all caps. Well, this lady says people still do use calendars. And I will say that some people do, but most people don't. When you need to look for a date, what do you use? Your phone, or you use your phone? And so we did try for a while. If you want to catch some questions as they come up, try to catch them. Hold on. We look like brothers.
Who looks like brothers?
Hold on. Where'd that go?
I don't know.
Someone says we look like brothers.
You think he looks this good?
I take that as a compliment because I think Chris is a good looking guy. I think Chris is a great looking guy. And so I would love to have Chris's look. But a lot of folks are saying, do we know the fire started? Has the fire marshal got back with anything yet? Or does it take time?
It's still an investigation, but it possibly could have been squatters, what it sounds like.
Okay. So a fireman calendar hanging on the wall. Guys, I will just say this, that we've actually tried to do a calendar before with our animals, part of our fundraiser for the I'm a Survivor thing. But our merch people said that calendars do not pay for themselves. What I mean by that is, let's just say it takes them $10 to make the calendar, and then we try to sell them for $12 or $14. They never make enough money on calendars to pay for the work that went into them. And then you have to have a minimum of like 500 calendars. And so we've had our merch person will not do calendars. And even though some folks still use calendars, I'll say most folks go right here to their phone when they want to find out the date. And so unfortunately, calendars are a thing of the past. But a virtual calendar, I can see that happening. A little video that you can have on your phone. You can have it saved to your computer. And if you ever want to go see the date, you just press play and get to watch a little 1-minute video. And you can find all that you want to find with some music and some Lester doing his flash dance moves or whatever. I should probably ask this, even though I'm not a fireman per se, is there any way I could become like a volunteer for a day just to be involved in that calendar? Because I can't do what y'all do. I'm sorry. I would love to say that I could. And I saw men older than me out here doing stuff, but I can't do what y'all do. I have knee issues.
Yes.
And, but I wouldn't mind being a honorary fireman for a day. And because I want to be a part of that calendar, man. At some point, I want to be the one doing I want to do my flash dance so darn bad, Chris. It's like maybe my lifelong passion.
Well, I don't see why that couldn't happen. That could happen for sure.
We'll have to I'll be the leap year guy. I'll be the leap year. So every 4 years, I'll show up on that calendar. So a lot of folks saying that they do use calendars, but guys, so even though you do, a lot of people don't. Read that right there, Chris. Could someone? Okay, go ahead.
Could someone take whatever structure left in property away? Could happen again if they're left there.
I don't know if you can do that. So Mr. Marshall, who is the trustee of that property, I don't know the whole story behind it, but Mr. Marshall is the trustee of the property, and he's unable to sell it. I know that, but there are multiple structures out there. Have you ever been across that property?
Not until yesterday.
There are multiple buildings and
Everywhere
across that property. And I know that we've run across people who've walked across or been messing around. I don't know, but I don't think you can tell an individual to remove their structures, can you? I mean, you just can't do that, can you? Even though they may be havens for squatters or
There's some environmental rules that may be involved in it.
Yeah.
He may clean it up just to get rid of it himself. I think he will.
Here comes a lot of questions. But you don't get a fireman on your phone, just saying. Well, actually, you can. You can get a fireman on your phone. Lester cannot be a firefighter, only a fire starter. Mary, that's mean. Here's a good question over here. How can people donate or contribute to the fire department directly? Can I show something? And I don't know for a fact. This is something that you should maybe look into, Chris. Where did I have it? I paused it somewhere. So this right here, I found this. This is your Facebook page for South Polk County Volunteer Fire Department. Why don't you or whoever your tech person is try to find a way to put on there a donate button? I think there's a way you can do that. I don't know for a fact. I know that we have a business page, so we do have the option to put a donate button on our page. But if y'all could find a way to put a donate button on your page, and then it will like link straight to your department's PayPal or however y'all do your transactions, then it could be an ongoing thing. Anytime anybody who wants to donate can, they don't have to wait for a fundraiser. They don't have to wait until we do some kind of goofy calendar or y'all show up and save our farm. They can just donate when they have time. Or do y'all have some kind of system in place? Checks or anything?
Just do the checks. We don't have no electronic system in place yet. The PayPal thing we do, but I got to find somebody to help me look into this donate button.
Okay. Well,
we'll look into it for sure, but
yeah. Oh, here's a good question. Where did it go? I'm going to find that question because I want to ask this myself. Let me hide this. And then someone said, there's flies all over me. Are they flying on you too?
yeah,
We turned the fan off to make it, darn it, I lost where it went, Chris.
Too many questions.
There's a lot of questions on here. So they says, firemen have donate buttons. Policemen have donuts. Someone says a fireman saved their life. I will say that this fireman right here saved our farm. And so I do believe that. What, hey, here's a good question.
Chris, is this the first time you've been on YouTube? Most definitely the first time. Most definitely.
How's it feel?
It's still nervous.
You don't seem nervous at all. If I was reading your body language, I would say the arms crossed might be a little bit nervousness, and you're leaning forward in your chair.
If I lean back, it's too far. See, I can't. I want to make sure I can read. I don't miss no comments.
I see what you're saying. Okay, so you're leaning forward to be able to see the video comments. I get it. So, yeah, no, there's body posture. Listen, he's not sitting here crying, and he's not sitting here fumbling his words the way I do. So he's doing a whole lot better than I am. Okay. Have you ever cried on video? Have you ever cried in front of your kids?
Yeah, but we ain't starting the day on video.
Jamie and I joked how funny it would be to get you to cry on a video, you and me to cry together. And I says, Jamie, I'm not going to cry in front of that man. I'm not going to do it. Here's a lady who shares a piece of her story. My dad just retired from his fire department in August. He was chief on his fire department. Due to his health, he had to retire. 75 years old. I have a shirt that says some people have to wait their entire lives to meet their hero. Mine raised me. I would say that is a very true statement. And then, you know who I want to talk about? I don't know if you know him personally, but Mr. Wilbur down the road here, at the very corner, Wilbur, he was the guy who called me. He was outside working and he saw smoke. And a lot of people, when they see smoke off in the distance, probably wouldn't think twice about it. You know what? It's off in the distance, no big deal. But Mr. Wilbur called me and says, hey, y'all got fires going over there? Because I see smoke. And I'm like, no, I'm not even there. I'm, whatever. And so when I called Jamie, that's when she saw the smoke and then everything was already going. But you guys had already heard, because when I talked to you, you already knew there was smoke. Do you remember who called or told you?
One of our old members used to be on the fire department. Was driving by and seen smoke and called and asked if I knew what was going on.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then her husband come out here and helped us.
Okay. Well, you know what? Funny thing is, even Mr. Wilbur, I don't know how old that fella is, but I would say he's probably in his 70s. I don't know for a fact, if you might know. But even when he got here, I don't know if he's ever fought fire in his life, but he jumped out of his truck and grabbed a fire hose and began to spray fire.
He was. I seen him too. I didn't know who he was at first. That makes sense now.
So he must have at some point in his life had some firefighting experience.
Yes, sir.
And so I love the fact that he's the kind of neighbor that kept an eye on things and was able to let us know what was going on. And just a lot of neighbors look the other way and say, you know what, ain't my problem. And Mr. Wilbur was not that kind of a guy. Let's scroll down a little bit more, Chris, and we'll get out of here pretty soon. Lester cries on videos all the time. I don't cry all the time. I'm an emotional guy. Chris, how long have you been a fireman?
Well, we're going on 23, 24 years when I was young, before we have when we have a junior firefighter program, I did.
Oh, okay.
Before you turn 18 and let you learn and join. And since I turned 18, I've been there.
When my house was burning, the firemen had to keep carrying me out because I wanted to save my stuff. Does that ever happen?
That's understandable. Most definitely understandable.
So people, I can understand why people keep going in to get their pets. Sometimes your pet becomes a part of your family and people want to keep going inside to make sure all their pets, their cats, their dogs, are all out of the house. But have you had people running in to try to get their possessions? They don't want to lose their couch.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to lose. Yeah, I guess that would be tough. And that means you're not only trying to fight fire, but trying to have kind of a crowd control to keep those folks back out of the way.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Is that one of the hardest things, or can you say what's the hardest part of your job?
Watching people lose stuff.
Yeah. I would think that. So the only time that I've had that kind of a loss was during Hurricane Harvey. And even though everything was still there, it was just covered in, it was gone. I would think a fire would be, I don't know if a fire would be easier or harder because it's literally gone. I mean, what used to be your couch is gone.
Mm-hmm.
What used to be your kitchen or your dining room is just gone. All of your kids' toys are gone. And ours was just ruined, obviously, because of the mud, the mildew, and everything else. But yeah, and that would be really hard on people, especially if they have nowhere to turn. And what do people do when they lose something and they literally have nowhere else to go?
Usually, hopefully, they got family and friends that help them out. It's a struggle.
Someone says, would I be allowed to ride along with you on a fire at some point, or do I got to be trained for that?
You can ride along if you stay out of the way.
Can I video?
We had people yesterday or day before yesterday helping here.
Oh, Lord. I'm trying to find more questions. I'm looking for all caps, guys. We don't normally like all caps, but all caps when you're asking a question is fine. Bailey says, what were your thoughts when you heard Longhorn Lester's? Bailey, are you going to go there? Are you going to go there? I think I already made this point. Go ahead. What were your thoughts when you first heard across the radio Longhorn Lester's?
I was going to push him in the river when I got here. He was done. There was gonna be no more Longhorn Lester.
He was. There was going to be no more Longhorn Lester because he was about sick and tired of me, and he was going to push me off in the river, or I think your exact words were, "You're going to kick my ass." And
Yes.
so, either way, I would have deserved it, Bailey. I would have deserved it. And
I've heard that question a few times already.
really,
Yes.
people I think it's really neat though that people look out for us. What's this over here? When you get the mask, will you get an oxygen mask for dogs or cats? Would y'all need one? Y'all don't have dogs that work at the station though. So what do they mean? Like
They
if
mean
you
like if
rescue a
you went
dog?
to a house.
Oh,
That
okay.
we have some on the trucks for the.
So y'all have some of those on the truck set. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Here's another one. What was the worst fire your team ever had to fight? Do you remember? And you've been doing it for a long time. So
I don't really know. There's so many different ones. It's what's more important, houses or woods or
yeah, possessions and stuff.
churches or car wrecks or
Man, think about that for a minute, y'all. So when you work for the fire department, you respond to car accidents, especially if you lose a soul in that, that is a whole lot more devastating than someone's home that burnt down
Mhm.
when no one was lost.
Yep.
So really, it's in the eyes of the beholder of what is more devastating. But I
the
would
worst
think that
fire. I guess you could say we had some kids and a mama died in a fire years ago.
little kids
Mhm.
never woke up or never could get
Never
out.
could get out. It was upstairs. Couldn't get out. So that's be the worst that I've personally dealt with. It's
Yeah, and I don't know how could anyone ever get over that. I don't think you could ever get over that. And what makes you keep going back, Chris? What makes you keep going back when things like that happen?
just the next person may need you, may help the next one.
Yep. Here's a good question. I don't know much about your history. I've only known you for 2 years. I know very little of you before. Where were you during Hurricane Harvey? Because a lot of my folks are here because of Hurricane Harvey. I don't know if you know that story or not, but I made my internet debut after Hurricane Harvey flooding. And so where were you during Hurricane Harvey?
We was here, and thankfully we didn't flood here
Okay.
around here. Now
Yeah.
we had roads flood, and some of the river behind us flooded, but we was here and didn't lose anything locally.
Okay. Do you even have any idea right now of the new equipment that you guys might get with the funds? I think that would require probably your whole committee to sit down and talk about.
Well, it takes a vote, but then plus you got to help the other ones that was here too. So we're gonna do that too.
I love that. I'm a Survivor Sanctuary is a nonprofit. And so we have a panel of 7 people who sit on our board that everything that has to do with the money, we have to be discussed. Now we have an allotment for feed, an allotment for vet care, an allotment for different things that we're able to spend without having someone sign off on it. But for the gist of the monies that we bring in to I'm a Survivor, it has to always be, God, Chris, you probably know this. There's so much red tape to get anything done, and you have to have board approval.
Yeah.
So I would guess that you guys as the fire department, when you find yourself, whenever y'all get the funds and you're going to find that you have an additional $70,000 sitting there,
Mhm.
that's going to probably be sitting down and trying to take like a survey or of what you have, an inventory of what you have, what you need, and then prioritize what's most important
Yes,
in
sir.
those needs. And then I don't even know what 70 grand will buy. I have no idea what you can buy with 70 grand. I'm guessing not much. I don't know what y'all are able to buy things for, but that will be between you and the committee.
We have
But,
to have the same fire department, just like yours. You got a board of people that has to vote on stuff.
Okay, and make sure it's all
Exact
approved.
same, nonprofit.
Gotcha.
Way yours work.
Yeah.
So.
And then that's great that you're going to help out some of those other departments and help them with little things. But no, I think that's great. But make sure that y'all keep the bulk for you guys. Don't feel like you're obligated to divide it 3 ways or 4 ways.
Sure.
Don't do that. You guys are our people, and even though they're great, and I'm sure they have their people, you guys are our people.
Yes.
So share your blessing, but make sure that y'all do something great for your department. And then my last thing, and I probably should let you go, we're getting close to our hour. Are other departments going to be jealous of y'all? Are they going to be jealous of y'all when they find out that y'all had a fundraiser that brought in $70,000? Is there any jealousy amongst people like that? Do y'all compete? Do y'all have any kind of jealousy tendencies at all?
I don't think there'd be no jealousy because they know when they need some help, we will help them too.
You're going to help
They
them
help
too.
us, and we work together as a team.
That's
everybody.
beautiful. Someone says, bring Jamie and the babies out to see Chris. My friends, we have babies right here. Chris has already been able to see the baby goats. We actually put them away so they wouldn't be bothering Chris. We did not want goats jumping on our table and messing with all of our stuff. We also put the calves out in their pasture. I don't see them right now. They may be laid up in their loafing shed.
Yeah,
But listen, yeah. And Chris and I wanted that little peace and quiet away from the goats. So yeah, this is the one I was referring to. Bring Jamie and the babies out. Jamie's not here. She's working. It's just Chris and I, but there's babies all around us. You know who I'm surprised about? We've not heard Rocky. Rocky is our rooster. And normally when we make videos, he's so loud that no one can even hear what I'm saying. Does Chris need a rooster? That's Rocky.
Nope.
Now, Chris, you don't know this, but I keep this megaphone right over here. This is not to shout out fireman orders. You might want this, but instead, here's what I do.
Rocky, you need to shut your little pie hole.
And then I blow the siren. And that normally will shut him up. You can see his container straight, that little green top. You can see it along the fence line. Yeah, I keep this here because every time I go live, Rocky wants to start screaming and hollering at. I don't know why he thinks that he's not getting. What do you find?
It said Rocky lost his voice screaming at us.
Rocky got a sore throat from the smoke. That, you know what? That might be true. Have y'all ever struggled the next day?
Oh, it's rough. You don't stay out of it. You gotta make, but he can't. Rocky can't stay out of it.
No, Rocky can't stay out. But Jamie was a little bit sore throat yesterday and kept coughing a little bit, and she thinks that she got a little bit more smoke than what she's used to. Chris, at what point did you know you had the fire under control? When did you know that?
I'd say 30 minutes after we got here, we had it contained.
Okay.
It was contained to the area, anyways.
Now, when you beat me here, but were you ever concerned for my little garage barn there or the cow barn down the pasture, or not really? Because when I got here, they were emptying out my garage, which terrified me.
But I think I had the idea that we had it stop before it got there.
Okay, you kind of realized.
I felt like it was okay, but they were still moving.
And then what was really beautiful is you guys had your trucks lined up where I guess every truck was doing its job, and there were even more trucks behind them, I guess, for support roles. So if one truck backed out, one would take its place. So guys, it was just I wish we could have done it more justice with like a better drone view or an aerial view of what a ballet dance it happened over here. Someone says, Eileen says, Chris, if you need more help, let us know. And what she means by that is probably not boots on the ground or manpower, but if y'all decide that y'all want to do additional fundraisers. But that will be done through Chris and the fire department. I will let you know, Chris, to be aware. This always happens, and just y'all should be aware of this, that every time someone does a GoFundMe, it never fails that scammers who see that, whenever the fundraiser's over, will jump back in there. They will copy your page. They will copy my name. They'll create an entirely fake scammer fundraiser trying to get people to piggyback off of the additional fundraiser, and you'll never see a penny of that. They'll use your name. They'll use, because it's so easy to screenshot and record your logo, your background. They could name a fundraiser anything, Longhorn Lester. They could copy my exact words. We want to do something for these guys who've helped us so much, and they just post that as a fundraiser, and then all of a sudden people think, oh, they're still doing the fundraiser. And the unfortunate thing is, complete scam. So that's why I would say, if I were you guys, I would do it from your actual Facebook page.
Well, if there's anything from us, it'd be only from our Facebook page.
So Chris, so you guys help spread this word, because I know for a fact there's already one fake scam going around that I was alerted to this morning. But like Chris is saying, if there's anything from them of additional fundraisers over time, it will come from their Facebook page, And once again, this over here is their Facebook page. Sorry. This over here is their Facebook page. It is called, let me pause that. Chris, I am so sorry. Right there. I'm going to pause it. South Polk County Volunteer Fire Department.
Yes.
And what we want to see, y'all, we want to see all of those likes start going up, all them followers start going up, and you guys show some love to this page. And that's where you can go and check into. And you guys keep photos on there of fires that you guys are fighting, calls that you're making, and all that kind of stuff, which is awesome.
Up.
You keep the community up. This over here says, Lester. Oh, let me hide that. Lester, don't forget to invite Chris to the P. That means the prom. Do you have any interest in bringing Wendy, your wife, to a prom where you guys can dress up and come over here? We're going to have it catered. We're going to have a disco ball, and we're going to go through the decades. It's going to be all of my family. And you came to my son's birthday party,
yes,
so
sir.
you know about my family. You know we're a bunch of weirdos. Would you have any interest in inviting Wendy to the prom, getting her to go find her a Goodwill dress, like an old prom dress, and bringing her to a prom to dance? Not dance. You don't have to dance at all, but you and I can sit in the corner and drink and watch the girls dance. I'll be happy to do that. Seriously, you and I can just stand. You and I can stand at the bar and just watch the girls dance like the old days.
I can do that. I can get that done.
Like the old days. We can do that. So, Chris, we are having a prom. I believe it's going to be in October once it cools off. And we're also having a cardboard boat race. Did I send you an invite for that?
Tomorrow or Sunday.
We changed it to Monday morning because of the weather. It's been so hot at 1 o'clock. No one can sit around at 1 o'clock eating and enjoying a meal with flies everywhere.
Well, Wendy asked me on the way over here, make sure to find out about this boat race.
Oh, y'all are going to do it. Well, I have cardboard right over there that I'm going to use. I'm making me a pontoon boat. I'm going to build me a pontoon boat. Here's the rule. Cardboard. You can use any kind of glue. I don't care if it's waterproof. You can use what's that spray stuff called for waterproofing? There's a paint spray.
Like the
what's that paint spray called? There's something that it's a water seal or some kind of a sealer. You can use paint, you can use glue, you can use tape. Doesn't matter. But your boat has to be cardboard. You can have an oar if you want to, a stick, an actual paddle. That does not have to be cardboard. But what we're going to do is drop off in the pond over here. It's going to be a race around a buoy, around another buoy, and back. And first one back gets an amazing trophy, bragging rights. And guess what? It's the first time we're doing it here at Longhorn Lester's. So there's a lot at stake here. And I think that people would love to see you as a part of that. So think about that. That's going to be this Monday morning. It's a holiday. You're not working, are you?
No, we're off.
You're off. So it's a holiday. We're going to have breakfast at 9 and boat races immediately following. Cardboard boat race. Seal, some kind of a seal. What's that stuff called, Chris?
No,
Flex seal.
Flex seal.
Flex seal. So Chris has been invited. Okay. Chris, I can answer questions all day. We still have a very nice audience. We're at 9,000 folks here. Flex seal. Thank you. Hold on. Jake said that Flex seal is cheating. Not this year. Styrofoam is cheating. Any kind of flotation like life jackets and all that is cheating. But cardboard with any kind of tape, any kind of glue, any kind of paint is we're going to allow that. There's going to be a prize for the coolest boat. Go ahead, play with it, touch it.
Somebody want to see the color of your pond too.
Oh, y'all want to see the color of the pond? Okay, so I'll show them. Where did it go?
Right there.
All right, so if you give me a moment, what I'm going to do, Chris, I love this app. Y'all watch this. I'm going to show you. Now, I made this video to be a part of another video for later. But since you're asking, I will show you how the pond looks this morning. I got to go to my videos. Chris, why are you looking at my photos for? You trying to find something naughty? You want to find something naughty? Chris, you trying to find my naughty photos? Please tell me that we're too old to have naughty photos on our phone, Chris.
I hope so.
I'm trying to airdrop. Oh, Chris, that went to you. Don't accept that.
I got it.
I don't want you to have it. I want to airdrop that to my computer, Longhorn Lester's. Here we go. I will show you guys how great the pond looks. This is awesome. Watch this. Here it comes. I have to upload it now into the app. I think you're going to love this. Not that, but this. Here we go. I will skip through a little bit. Well, it is the next day, and as I promised, I'd walk you out. It's just some leaves. It's just because you never know. Color.
Look at
I
that,
think it was
Chris.
great.
Ain't that pretty?
That turned out good.
That looks so pretty.
I can't wait to get me a new drone. You know, I tore my other drone up. I crashed it. Now, all the stuff that you see floating there, Chris, I don't know how this happens, but we pumped water out of the river yesterday, and it created this weird foam across the top of my pond.
From the air coming up.
The air coming up?
So
Okay,
far.
so that will all dissolve and
It'll
be gone
dissolve.
before Monday morning.
Mhm.
Hopefully, the foam will all be gone before Monday morning, but that's what right there is foam that comes from the river. Whenever Sean
Isn't
was
that
here from
beautiful,
Keeping
though?
It Dutch, and I have to order me a new one at some point. It was
The dog's enjoying it.
Tex and his friends are very pleased with the leaves in here.
We do have some
And that's
leaves
fine.
floating
There's
around.
nothing wrong with having a few leaves here and there.
Leaves are fine.
The
There's
water
no
looks
trees here.
great, though, y'all.
Isn't that beautiful, Chris?
But I got it all filled back up. You got to go. You
No.
seem to be very intrigued by that. Is your wife watching today?
She should be working, I hope. I took off, so she should be at work.
A lot of folks will still watch from work, so you never know.
She should be at work, but you never know. She did text me to make sure what was going on, so she knew what to see.
I don't know if you can talk about this, but someone says, Chris, what is your real job? Can you talk about that? Or not?
Yeah, I work for the local electric company on our meter system.
So he works for an electric company on their meters. Okay. Chris, you should watch last year's boat race.
Well, I'm going to now.
You don't want to watch
Well,
that.
I have to see what's going on.
Well, I was in costume. I will just say that I called my boat the Textanic, not Titanic, but Tex after my bull. The
Oh.
Textanic. I wore a big bull mask, and my boat, which I thought was an amazing boat, I got into the water. They pushed me off, and my boat capsized immediately. It was too top heavy.
So do I need to be in the boat race, or do I need to be here to save y'all?
I don't know. You
You
might
may
want
need
to.
somebody here to save
You
you.
might need to have, yeah, you might want to bring a fire truck with a ladder. I don't know, just for fun. I don't know, Chris, but here we go. This is a question. Would it be cool to have all the firemen make boats? Dry lock. I'm not sure exactly that last part, but no, you know what, Chris? That would be really fun, but we should do it in a separate event, not my family event, but like one day, all of you firemen, if y'all want to do it with your families, come out here and do like a cardboard boat race of yourselves.
That'd be cool.
But I want Chris to do all kinds of stuff. I want to use and utilize Longhorn Lesters to do things for training. I want these guys to rappel down this hill behind me. You know, I told you about that,
Mhm.
but we got to wait until the fall because
Cool off
right
a
now,
little bit. It's hot.
poison ivy, poison oak, is it called Simlac? You know what I'm
Yep.
talking about? That stuff will eat you up, brother. And when I went down the last time for that pump stuff, I was covered. I'm still, look at this, Chris. I'm still covered in things from all that poison stuff. So is milk jugs acceptable? And absolutely, guys, absolutely. So I don't know exactly if you see more questions. Chris and his wife showing up to cheer us on would be great. No, I want Chris to compete. If Chris shows up, he needs to compete.
I'm gonna have to save you. It's hard to do both.
I know, right? Our pond's not that deep, so I think I should be fine. Anyway, everyone else is pretty much saying the same kind of stuff. What's over here? If it's naughty, it's Lester playing in his fire suit. If it's
Pictures
naughty.
from your phone. That's true.
I was not trying to be naughty, y'all. I was trying to be sexy. And at my age, it's hard to be sexy. We are proud of you, SPVFD, South Polk County Volunteer Fire Department. We are just good folks too on Facebook and YouTube. And I absolutely would agree with that. Someone says Similac is a baby formula, Chris. It's not what we said.
It's poison sumac, which is
Sumac. It's Sumac, not Similac.
we ain't gotta be that perfect. It's hard to be perfect. It's hard to be perfect.
Chris, I don't know my head from the hole in the ground. So, and that's not the actual expression. I know the actual expression. Anyway, I think that, Chris, we will leave this live with one last video of my hot or not to give everybody who's joined now one last glimpse of what they should not grow up to become. And I will say it's a pleasure making his acquaintance, becoming his friend. And I could not have asked for better neighbors and a better community with more loving and supporting people than what I have right here sitting beside me and living on each side of me and down the road. So, Chris, I'll let you go ahead and end this thing. Anything you want to say to end it up?
I just want to
There's
thank
more questions, Chris. There's more questions.
Chris.
How many trucks does your station have?
So we have 2 engines, 2 tankers, and a brush truck now,
Okay.
thanks to the support from the community.
And now I know you only have a 4-car garage.
There's 2 doors behind it you don't see.
Oh, there's more behind it. Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay. Got you. How will you transfer the money? So that's going to be something that I'll talk to Chris about. So what happens is I do not want to pay it to Longhorn Lester's, or guess what? I get taxed. You know how that works? So I'm going to have to get with your accountant person or your treasurer.
Mhm.
And at some point she will have to come over, or I'll meet her at the station, and she will enter her account information.
Yep.
And at that point, they will verify that she's real, and then they will transfer that money to them. That money will never come to me, my friends. It will never come to me. Anybody can start the GoFundMe, but you decide on who that money transfers to. So I will talk to Chris about his accountant, or is it a treasurer? What do y'all have?
Treasurer.
The treasurer, and she will have access to their PayPal or whatever banking they use. I will meet with her and I'll give her my information. She'll enter her account information that I'll never see, and it will do a direct transfer off of the fundraiser into their account. And so I'll never see a penny of that. And I don't want to see a penny of that. And I don't want to pay taxes on that either. As a nonprofit, y'all won't have to. So
we're very thankful for every bit of it.
No,
very, very,
no.
very, very thankful.
Just know that we're very thankful. We would not be the same today if y'all had not been here 2 days ago. And I know that for a fact. We'd be having to not only deal with heat and drought, but also the loss of a lot of equipment, a lot of our infrastructure here of what keeps us going. And so we are super blessed to know you and to have you and to become friends with you guys. And now I've met several of your firemen. I've met Randy. I've met the other chief. What's his name? Phil.
Yep.
I met Phil. I met Randy, and I've met Jaime.
Jamie's his actual name.
So his name is Jamie, but you call him Jaime, so it's not to confuse
I
with
call
my
him
Jamie.
Jamie. Y'all just get confused on me.
Oh, it confuses me. So that's why we call him Jaime. Okay.
Which is fun because we had fun with it last night.
Yeah, it's fun. All right, my friends, I will let you guys go. As you're saying your goodbye, you can watch if you want to. You can watch if you want to. You can say goodbye if you want to. But I'm going to make Chris watch it. Do not stop watching. Watch this. There. That is me on the calendar. Look at that, Chris. Look, the figure's out. My face is opened up with being showered by water.